Can you explain how one goal fits into the wider education picture?
Well, 9 years ago, world leaders came together and they agreed to make education for all a reality by 2015. Now, we're 6 years away from that deadline, and we still have 75 million children who are out of school. In this world's knowledge-based economies, the individual and national prosperity very much depends on education. So it's incumbent on all of us to understand the urgency of trying to get those children to school. It is an achievable goal.
You've often said to me that education is more than a basic human right. Where do you see that basic right then still being denied, and why?
Well, as I said, there are 75 million children who are not going to school. 41 million of them are girls. These are girls who are out of school, they're out fetching water, they're out farming fields, out weaving carpets, out getting married early. When we think of girls, we think of them as being soft and vulnerable, and that they might not be the solution necessarily to the world's toughest problems, but they really are. Educating a girl gives her self-respect and self-confidence. She gets married later in life, has fewer children, has a healthier family, works to build a more prosperous community. So they could be part of the solution. And many of the children who are not having access to school are the ones that are most difficult to reach. The poorest of the poor, those living in conflict states, those with disabilities, those in rural areas. So it's really, we have a responsibility to try to reach these children.
What's going wrong? Why aren't we further than we are?
I think it's a lack of will to follow through on our commitments and to really act. And obviously, the world economic crisis has had an effect. For the first time in about 60 years, the world economy is shrinking. A lot of the G8 countries have committed to giving a percentage of their income to development, and as this income shrinks, then this aid is going to shrink. But the thing that we have to remember is that economies will recover. People, the unemployed, will find jobs. But children only have one chance of going to school. So if we don't commit these funds now, then we risk having a lost generation. And that's going to affect economic prospects in the future.
We met a little girl from South Africa today. Can you just describe how you feel when you stand on a stage with
First
her?
of all, I was completely outperformed by her. She really, took over.
Going to school is fun, and I want to help make sure every child in Africa can go to school like me.
She was lovely, little Gugu who's come from South Africa. And, just seeing how she was able to stand in front of an audience, she just flew in yesterday, and speak with such self-confidence and eloquence, tells you that, she could be a future leader. And how many other girls are being deprived of that opportunity? How many doctors and lawyers and scientists are we missing out on? Because really, when you don't give a child a chance to get an education, then you're really consigning them to a life of poverty and disadvantage. So it just really reinforces my commitment to make sure that as many children as possible in the world get an education, because that's really what levels the playing field. Give everybody the tools and then see what they make out of themselves. It's really the biggest equalizer in the world is an education.